You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Impact Dynamics. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. This is an episode that's a bit special, actually. We've started off, I've been starting on the back foot. We were laughing as we kicked into that. I have a very special guest for this episode, Simo from Hunting HQ. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me back, mate.
Oh, no dramas, mate. This is a bit more intimate this time, although you're all the way over the other side of the bench. But you know, it's just us.
Well, it's all in the eye contact, mate.
You're making me nervous now. Oh, very good, mate. Look, thanks for coming around and having a chat. I've got a bunch of questions for you, but generally, how's things?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Pretty good. I've had a bit of a hectic day today. I had 11 hours out on the job today, and
Yeah, right.
with the chainsaws and the bobcats and stuff, and that's why I'm sort of I'm a bit nasally, so I'm doing a man with the Golden Tonsils impression tonight.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Someone has to. We always need a Kermit in the room.
We miss him. He's been struck down with something horrible.
Oh, is he?
Yes,
Oh,
he's not well.
No good at all.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go. So, Hunting HQ, how's it all going, mate?
Yeah, it's good actually, and it's surprised us all.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You've clicked over just over a year, haven't you? Bit over a year
we are about 14 months now, so
now. Wow. It's maturing.
it is, well, something has to.
Your last episode was a bit more mature. Let's put it that way.
I know. But, yeah. We still, no, but in all seriousness,
Yeah.
we're still going, and we didn't think we would be.
Yeah.
And we got some sort of, get some really good feedback, and people seem to be digging it, and
It's good.
and especially when someone goes off the rails, you know, when one of us has a few too many grogs. And so I don't know if that's the same with your podcast, if people sort of tend to get into it a bit more when someone's a little bit too loose. But
Oh, we certainly get comments, mate. We probably haven't reached the highlights of our podcast, or not podcast. That was the thing. Our audiobook reading of the Rodney Mays book Impact, which
so you're releasing that in the dribs and drabs?
No, it's just gone out to our Patreons, and
right, yeah,
it's yeah. It was good. It was good fun. There would have been by now. There would be a little preview out there for people of us yelling at each other. I'll play it to you a bit later, I'm sure. But, it's good, mate.
Yeah,
So,
but actually, the response has been really good.
fantastic.
Yeah,
That's good because I know you were a bit nervous starting it. And how did it all come about?
Oh well, I don't remember. I reckon we were just. No, it was Greg and I were talking about it.
Yeah.
And we were in his shed with a couple of cans of 101.
Of course, yeah.
Believe it or not.
I believe it, definitely.
But we were just. He was just showing me. He just got his neck chamfering tool, and he was just running me through that, how you set the neck chamfering up and stuff for your reloading.
Sure, yep.
And we just got talking and said, oh, you know, maybe we should do a hunting podcast, but we'll just set it up like you're sitting around the campfire with your mates and having a few beers and just talking garbage. And so I guess the idea too is, one, you can talk through a lot of stuff that you're looking towards and wanting to achieve with your hunting. The other thing is that you can sort of provide a platform for guys who might be just starting out or guys who might be interested in going down the particular branch that you're into.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, that's been really, really good. We had a lot of good luck with our Instagram page too, because there's 3 of us feeding it. So like you just wouldn't catch up. If it was just you, you'd be on the bloody thing all day. But there's 3 of us feeding it. So we also encourage people to get in touch with us, and you know, even if it's just to rag on us and give us grief.
Do you get a bit of that?
Yeah, big time. Especially me.
Oh, good. Mainly the moustache and being left-handed.
Well, it's mainly being left-handed. But
I wonder where that's been driven from.
I I did hear these other blokes on another podcast were giving me shit about being left-handed too.
Oh, that's no good. You have to take it up with them, mate. You should definitely confront them about that. It's unfair. I mean, that's just the way you're born.
That's right. Superior in every way.
All right, let's not go that far. Let's not go crazy about this.
Yeah. But you see now, we sort of developed that rapport with people that sort of listen to us. So yeah, it's good. We've got a really good sort of relationship with people that listen, and you know, people say, "Oh, when's the next one coming out?" You know, because I don't always get it out on time, and you know what it's like yourself with your editing.
Schedule's a time that's fluid.
So, yeah. Well, sometimes the editing, if everyone's a little bit loose, you know, like sometimes our podcasts go for 2 hours.
Yep.
And it takes me 5 hours to edit them because you sort of got to cut a lot of stuff out and then try and string them together, and you sort of
especially when you get to that point, you're going, these are not words we're using. What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. But we're getting a sort of really good sort of two-way connection with our punters as well. So everyone's super keen to sort of engage with us. So it's really good.
Yeah, and so the connection between you, the Rum Baron, and Greg, that's been a long-term connection, hasn't it?
Yeah. That's Greg and myself. We went to the same primary school.
Wow. Yeah.
And we played like soccer together when we were 7 years old, sort of thing. So that's very long-standing. And then. As far as the three of us goes, that was
how old was Greg at the time? He would be late 50s.
No, I was older than him, but he did
don't ever admit to that.
But he did have chest hair at that point. So he was
right, good.
He looked a lot older than he was. Yeah,
still does. Okay, so primary school.
Yeah, so it goes back a long way, man. So.
And were you hunting back then? Was that of interest or shooting or anything?
I mean, I was always trying to make bows and stuff out of bamboo, and pinching Dad's plumb bob lines and stuff, and cutting down bamboos, and and trying to solve the problems of the bamboo splitting when you stretch it too far. When you bend a piece of bamboo too far, it cracks and splits.
Yeah.
So trying to solve problems like that, and so it's always been.
It's always been present.
Always, yeah. And like Shanghai's, just making Shanghai's from as soon as I could, figure it out, So that's how it started. It's always been there, and I don't know where it came from, and always eating funny birds and trying to have a little fire in the backyard and eat these birds and stuff without mum cottoning on, and it's hard to get away with,
Good, mate.
What are you doing? Have you been lighting fires? No,
of course not. No, and so obviously taken from that, your family wasn't into that so much.
No,
I mean, not that many families are into eating all weird birds, but in general.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
In later life, an uncle of mine, or who happens to be mine, his second husband, he's a mad shooter, and
okay.
But that wasn't, I didn't have that relationship until I was sort of 17.
Yeah, right. So it was quite present prior to that.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
And just couldn't get enough of it. And once I got given a Diana 177 air rifle at the age of 9, that's it.
It was all over?
Yeah, that was it. Just
where'd you get that from?
A friend of the family's just thought because we'd go over there and he had a couple of daughters, and this would be 9 or maybe 10. But anyway, he had a Luger and Colt 45, and
he had the works.
And he'd just say, "Oh, g'day, son. How's it going? Here you go. Play with these."
Yeah.
So obviously, safe and just in case anyone's going, oh, he's giving it. But, you know,
It was controlled.
It's controlled.
Yeah, totally.
And he'd show me how to strip them down and put them back together and get me to clean them and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, right. Yep. End up giving you one?
No, sadly.
No?
But, no, the air rifle. Sorry.
Yeah,
I was thinking about the Colt 45. That's my dream. That'd be like someone give me a Colt 45. Be like, oh.
There you go, listeners.
I'm in love.
Beautiful.
But I've just always loved them. And I've always loved shooting and archery. And if I haven't had guns, which I didn't have in my late 20s and early 30s when I was traveling, always had a bow.
Always had a bow?
Always had a bow. And then always just had a drawer full of knives as well, you know, just.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you sort of, I just keep getting drawn back into it through life. It's a sort of interesting
journey.
Yeah, I guess the way things happen, you know, you sort of get pulled in one direction and then you end up somewhere else where you sort of plunge back into the hunting or wanting to source your own meats or, you know, so.
Okay.
It's been an interesting sort of journey, yeah.
And so you played soccer with Greg when you were 7.
Yep.
And you were starting to get interested in hunting in that sort of time frame?
Around
then? Yeah.
Around then.
And did you guys ever hunt together in that? I mean, hunt, whatever we call it when you're 7 or 8 or 9 and got air rifles knocking off weird birds to eat?
Yeah, look, I would presume there would have been some Shanghai action, you know, trying to shoot sparrows or something in someone's backyard. I know definitely from about 12 years on.
Okay.
It was we're always at it.
Yeah, right. And is that when the Rum Baron was around?
He was around that time too.
Yeah.
Wasn't
into
13.
rum so much back then?
No, well, we were into probably pinching it from my dad's little cupboard. But,
nice. And so then, obviously, through high school, that's continued to develop.
I mean, and at this point, the Baron and I would be sitting the whole weekend in the shed.
Yeah,
which had louver windows.
I see where this is going.
We just put a little rag on it, and we'd just be sitting there waiting for something to fly
across
our path, and we'd try and whack it. And then when we weren't whacking the birds, we were just shooting the next door neighbour's swampy air conditioner.
I reckon I heard that you say that somewhere.
So there would have been the service guy that went out to do that service that air conditioner would have said, "This is real heavy. This bat's real heavy. What's going on?" Would have had hundreds. I mean, I'm not lying. There would have been hundreds of slugs in it.
and did it work? Did it continue to work?
Yeah, I presume so. I didn't get an angry neighbour.
Didn't get told.
So.
Yeah, right. I remember I did get an angry neighbour at the door one time, and it's to do with ballistics in some form of it. We were in the backyard, myself and a mate of mine. We would have been about 8 or 9, and similar sort of, you know, you're starting hunting. Mate was trying to flick a tree with an orange in it to, you know, flick the orange out.
Oh, yep.
And I said, no, mate, that's not how you do it. And I just grabbed the orange and pegged it across a few fences.
Yeah.
And then moments later, we just hear this of glass breaking.
Really?
And went, oh no, and ran inside. And anyway, so we're inside on the computer playing some game, and hear the door get knocked. And my dad goes up to the door and opens it up, and the gentleman goes, "Oh, do you have a navel orange tree?" And he goes, "Yeah, we do. Why is that?" And he said, "This just came through my daughter's room."
Whoops.
And we in turn found out he was a former police inspector. Which is perhaps a little bit to do with how we tracked it down.
Yeah.
As to which house it was. Anyway. So, yes, have some early interactions with neighbours that has not gone so well.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure.
I mean, one of the best ones I ever saw was a friend of mine, not on the hunting podcast, just not on Hunt HQ, sorry, but just another random friend. Went out and got this U-Butte.
You have friends outside of the podcast?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Wow.
I
Okay.
know.
Wow.
I know.
Right. A whole new world. It's a whole new world I'm discovering tonight.
Well, I don't. I try not to mix with anyone else, but
yeah.
But those pesky long-term friends keep annoying me. But no, he went out and bought this U-Butte surgical rubber Shanghai, with the armrest on it and stuff, and the ball bearings in the handle, and he drew it back and he wavered a bit, and his arm slipped up, and he let this ball bearing go, and it went about half an inch over the top of the fence.
Yeah.
And then just straight through this massive plate glass window in the house behind.
Oh, good.
And it was probably 10-foot square.
Oh, wow.
Plate glass window.
That would have been cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dirt cheap.
And that was like, oh, shit, he went white.
Yeah. As
he just took off. And I'm like, oh, okay, what do I do now? And I just sat there in the driveway
and waited.
Oh,
good.
Someone came around and said, where's Stephen?
Oh, good. At least they weren't trying to pin it on you.
Well, that's right. I had a innocent-looking face back then.
You still do. You just got to cover it up with a moustache.
Yeah, well, see, I can't shave it off now because because I've been getting so much grief about it.
That'd be backing down, wouldn't it?
It'd be backing down, so it has to stay, mate.
Has to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
well,
I got complimented by strangers at the pub the other night. So
because it's November.
November, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. They go.
So it's a perler. They said, you haven't blown that for November, I can see. I said, nah, this baby's been around for a while, mate.
Oh, good. Well,
anyway, I digress.
Not at all. It says we're onto the important topics of life, beards and all that sort of gear.
Yeah, see, I can't grow a beard, so.
Okay, is that the excuse?
Yeah, no, I'm like Joe Dirt.
Patchy.
Yeah.
Very patchy. Yeah. Good, mate. And so then through high school, did you guys do any hunting trips or anything like that?
Nah, not.
No, just shooting sparrows and
swampies. And the Barons always had a block up on in the Riverland.
Oh, right on.
And so we would go up there. I'd probably get up there twice a year or something with him back in the day, because he had other things with you or a family and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
On one of those trips, because, I mean, in those days here in Adelaide, when you turned 15, you can go to the police station, get your license.
Yeah. Yep.
You answer 10 true or false type questions, get your license, and you toddle off and go to the gun shop, and
away you go.
And away you go.
Yeah.
And so one of these occasions, I'd got my first rimfire 22, and we'd gone up to the Barron's family block, and I guess we would have been just 15, and his dad used to let us take the car out and drive around, and they had a range up on top of the cliffs, and we went up there and we were trying to sight this thing in. It was just an old Norinco JW 15 or something.
Yep, the Bruno copy.
The Bruno copy, yeah.
Yes.
And to a T too, actually.
Yeah, did it all right.
All right. And we're trying to sight this scope in, and I didn't know when I put it on, on up and down, I put that on the windage because I thought, you turn it up to go up, then you turn it down to go down, right? And then I put the windage up the top. Yeah, we turn it left and turn it right.
Yep.
I didn't know. There was no internet back then. And we had no guidance.
I don't reckon you'd be the first to have made that mistake, mate.
Yeah.
Even with the internet around.
Yeah. So anyway, we why isn't this bloody thing, why are we not getting this thing to dial in? We ended up shooting a hole through the roof of the car. Well, not through the roof rack, sorry, but
through the roof
it was a brand new XF Falcon, it was a Perla, brand new. And we shot a hole through the roof rack of the car. And we went back to the Baron's old man very sheepishly, and to his credit, he just said, "No more guns today, boys."
That's probably the best way that could go, to be fair.
Yeah. We thought, man, we're going to catch it. We are gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are gone. But no, no. Carl took it in his stride,
and yeah, all right, okay,
yeah,
good. No,
so that story came up at his 70th birthday a while back.
yeah, right,
Yeah, it was a good one.
beautiful. And at some point, you boys head overseas. So
Well, we're wanting to get over to NZ next year.
I was actually referring to previously. You've been overseas.
Ah, sorry.
No, we'll get onto New Zealand at some point, definitely.
Yeah.
But did you do any hunting overseas or anything like that?
Nah, not really. Shot lots of guns in the States.
Yep.
Because you can.
'Cause
You've been
you have
there.
to,
Yeah. So did a fair bit of fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a pretty keen fisherman.
Okay, because you guys were on boats, weren't you?
Yeah.
A fair bit.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with that is sort of limited to a couple of 3-month stints here and there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because I'm the service, industry doesn't. I don't go that great with the service industry, sort of, working for richos and yes sir, no sir sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when the boats go into the yard, the Baron used to hook me up with a couple of months here and there with yard work because my background's a plumber. So
yeah, right.
So that used to work out really well,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was always a bit of a treat every now and again, and we got to catch up and carry on in a different part of the world and do some fishing together and stuff like that. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah,
but no hunting doing that.
No, not really. No, well, none. Actually, I'll be honest.
None.
Just in those situations, it's just too hard.
Yeah, I guess you're there for a reason and purpose, and you're limited in options. And
you might be working in the yard periods. You're probably working 6 days a week.
Yeah, big days, I imagine.
And you're also sharing a cabin with other people.
Yeah,
that's literally 4 coffins stacked up. That'll be enough for 2 people. So
yeah, right.
So you don't really have a lot of room for possessions and stuff like that. So
yep.
So
so bad.
Yeah. So and that's what I mean. That sort of took things take a back seat.
Yep.
But then I end up somewhere where there's a lot of game and you get drawn back in again straight away.
Of course.
Or the other thing that happened in later in life for me too was sort of learning to cure meats and
okay, yeah, right,
or wanting to cure meats and wanting to make salamis and sausages and all that sort of stuff. And
how did you go about learning that?
Just read books and
okay,
and then a friend of mine who's been on Hunting HQ, the Sausage King.
Oh yes,
he's like an avid chef, and the guy's a fantastic chef. So
okay,
well, he's not a chef; he's a cook. But
but
the guy's unbelievable. He just sort of eats, lives, and breathes food, and dealing with food and flavors and all that sort of stuff, and knows how all that stuff works. And
yeah, right.
So I've always had a good teacher in him.
Yeah.
And we've been doing our own Christmas hams for the last sort of 5 years, and salamis and
it works.
Yeah, and like I say, sausages and stuff like that. And then we just smoke meats, and he's one of these guys that's into the American low and slow cooking and stuff like that as well. Okay. So he built his own smoker, and it's and then for me, once you start messing around with that, you may as well have good meat.
Yeah. Yeah,
and you may as well source your own.
Back to hunting, yeah.
And so, things like that always pull me back.
And
then when I get there, I realise, well, what an idiot. Why haven't I done this the last 5 years? The first hunt we go out on or something like that,
Yeah.
I guess what really solidified it, though, was I moved from Adelaide to Darwin when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And Darwin back then, in the early 90s, was an absolute hunter's paradise.
Yeah.
We'd get in the car after work, have your over and under in the back.
And you're plumbing at this stage?
I was an apprentice. I did my apprenticeship up there.
Yeah, cool.
And, you put your gun in the back seat,
Mm.
or even just leaning up in the car in the gun bag. No one cared.
Yeah.
And you're shooting geese in 50 minutes back then.
Yeah, right.
And then you're home doing like geese satay for dinner, when the geese season was on. And then, pigs were pretty readily available back then as well. And,
yeah.
And, it was just a great outdoor lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so the hunting really, that solidified it for me.
Yep. Locked it in.
And it's never gone since then.
Never been far from it, even though you might take breaks for life reasons.
Yeah. Life reasons. That's probably good. That's probably a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, it always keeps calling back.
Yep. Yeah. And like I say, the need for meat or the want for meat or whatever. There's I can't remember the author, but there's a book called The Alchemist. And the guy sort of, I think it's called The Alchemist, but it's about a young.
I know
guy.
the Anarchist cookbook,
yeah,
but not the Alchemist.
Yeah, well, the Anarchist cookbook would appeal to some of your listeners, I'm sure.
Possibly, probably a couple of the people on the podcast.
Yeah, but anyway, it's like just about looking for signs in the universe and thinking about where you're going, and what's pointing towards your destiny, I guess, and I guess without trying to be too bloody airy fairy, that's what's happened with the hunting for me.
Yep.
Keeps
coming back.
So and I think having that sort of a relationship with your food too.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have that. So
true, isn't it?
So they don't. Not many people can butcher an animal, pull it apart, know what the cuts are, know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
Know how to store them.
And then not only that, make it not taste good, make it task great, and complement it, and how the process goes.
Exactly right, and that's why I'm such a big fan of Steve Ranella, because he's the master. Pretty much. He's made that accessible for lots of people. So, So that's he's a bit of a trailblazer in that regard. As far as like the professional hunting media type dudes go. Steve's one of those people that I admire for having to sort of broken that ground and doing something different, because we've all seen hunting shows where someone like Jim Shockey or some of these other guys go out and they shoot a moose and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And then you'll see, last week I shot this big boy here, and you'll see the mount.
Yeah.
And then we had some burgers, or we had this or that, but nobody shows you how to break it down and do this and do that. So,
whereas Steve is very much from that sort of inception through to like the food on the table.
Absolutely.
The whole process.
Absolutely. And he will illustrate that in a TV show from time to time. He goes out and sort of he'll interview chefs.
Yeah.
There was a great one with a guy from Saison, which is a restaurant in San Francisco with 3 Michelin stars. So basically that's like the duck's guts as far as restaurants go. And this guy serves only game meat, evidently. So he does elk and he does...
Where is it?
San Francisco.
San Fran, okay.
So they do like if you want the full shebang there, it's like $7,000 or something.
Wow.
It's like ludicrously expensive. It's like got the dubious honour of being the most expensive restaurant in America or something.
Yeah, right. Well,
but that's like a 13-course degustation with all, with your paired wines and all this sort of stuff. And
okay.
It's pretty wild. Everything's cooked on coals.
Imagine recording a podcast doing that.
Yeah. It'd be pretty wild.
We have to get some good sponsors to make that all happen, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But
if anyone wants to shout Hunting HQ and Precision Shooting Podcast a meal there, we'll promise we'll do a good mixed podcast across all of us.
We'll have to hit those guys up at Scoped Out.
Yeah, got all the money in the world. Totally. Yep.
Yeah, they looked after us in Perth.
We did eat all right in Perth, didn't we?
Yeah, really good.
Did we? I don't think the chicken story has made it onto here.
It hasn't. No.
We Simo and I were over in Perth at the Shot Expo. Yeah, they're in Perth, and we did the Saturday. Now, normally, traditionally, Saturday night is the big night that we all go out, and there's been a few
Get on the
stories,
sauce.
told on this podcast
Yeah.
about Saturday nights, although not all of them. And that Saturday night, I reckon we ended up back in the room, quiet,
Yep.
sitting around, and it was, I reckon, it was that uncomfortable silence of none of us actually feel like going out, but
we should be going out.
The social norm would be we all going out. We're all sitting around, and I think Ben said, "Oh, well, at least we got to go get dinner to start with. Let's go get Nando's."
Yeah.
At which point I've flicked open Uber Eats and gone, Nando's are on Uber Eats if you want. And I think you've definitely chimed in going, that sounds great. Let's do that.
Great, do that, yeah.
And then so we've ended up with $100 worth of chicken. It's good chicken.
That lasted about 4 seconds. Too.
Oh, it was gone.
Because in our
quick.
defense, it was Ben's 40th the night before.
Yeah, we did have a big night the night before,
and we had a huge day.
And you didn't know you were going to Perth on the Friday, and then end up in Perth on the Friday, and then end up out with us. And Perth's got that time zone kicker, which was a killer.
It was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's only 3 hours, but you're
two and
awake.
A half.
You're awake at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah, it's just it threw us. But anyway, and then the best part of the night, we devoured our chicken quickly, and also in our defence of that much chicken, we didn't have lunch. We didn't stop at the show for lunch.
We were flat out.
So it was full on. So anyway, we did that, and then I thought, so I was just checking out Uber Eats, just with checking Uber Eats with my stomach, not with my mind, and found Baskin and Robbins on there. And
well, that was a good idea, though.
Well, I've just said to you boys, so if I was getting ice cream, what flavors would you guys get? Just out of interest, and with the over enthusiastic response of I don't remember what they were, mint choc,
mint choc,
something or other, and some other option.
Yeah.
They were very enthusiastic responses, and I figured, well, there's $40 worth of ice cream on its way to us somehow accidentally.
But we probably would have spent $300 on grog, so it was a cheap night in, really.
It really was. I think we were well in front. So, yeah, it was good. But back to Steve Ranella's fancy restaurants that run the game, mate.
Yeah.
So he went to that restaurant, did he? As part of the show?
Yeah, well, I didn't see it as on the show, but
okay, just talks about it.
But they were there interviewing the chef,
right?
And the chef will sort of take him through all the processes and stuff like this. And,
wow, yeah.
It's a great episode. I think it's called Advanced Game Cooking or something. If anyone's interested, and it's on the Meat Eater.
It's on Meat
Eater podcast episode list. But stuff like that just fires me up, you know.
Yeah.
And it keeps it fresh, and it keeps me going.
Yeah, it's